Good morning. My name is Helen Jennings and I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK. And I started my live about a quarter of an hour ago, a bit longer. Really couldn't understand why nobody was coming to play this morning, and have just realised that I haven't gone live on my page. I've gone live somewhere else, very random. So, yes, I am here. I've been playing along for a quarter of an hour. Where have you been? Why have you not been playing along with me on the random page that I decided to go live on? So I will recap. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Monday morning Facebook Live take 2. And I will do a bit of a recap of what I've been playing with while you've all not been here. I can't believe I've done that. I kept thinking it's very odd that there's not one single person joined me. You know, is there something going on today that I don't know about? Has everybody got into a steep decline because of the lockdown that's impending? But you're here all along waiting for me. It's just that I was in the wrong place. So what I thought I would do today, and what I have been doing, is playing with my new stacked stone background stamp. I tell you, I'm just getting worse. I don't know whether... oh no, Beryl, that's not a nice thing to be doing, is it, this morning? I don't know whether... I don't know. Is it early onset dementia? Is it hormonal? Who knows what's going on with my brain at the moment. But we're here now. So, and I've got my new stacked stone stamp set. And that's what I thought we would play with this morning. So let me catch up on what you've missed. I thought that we would do a couple of cards. One we would go Christmassy and one we would go seasonal but not Christmassy. I'm using the Poppies. So what I have done so far is I took my stamp, I inked it up with some Sahara Sand ink, and I laid my Whisper White card on top, gave it a good rub, and then I sponged around the edges. So this is my stacked stone background, stamped in Sahara Sand and sponged with Sahara Sand. And then I thought I would dig out my poppy stamps, because I've not played with my poppies for a little while. And yeah, I saw that, Caroline, and that was the bit that made me suddenly go, I'm not in the right place, and that's why nobody is here with me. So I have been live. Oh, that's a shame. We shall miss seeing you live. Hopefully you'll come and join us on catch up. But yes, so I thought we'd play with the Poppies. Obviously we're now into November, November the 2nd today, and we're creeping up towards, here in the UK, towards Remembrance Day on the 11th. So I thought we'd play with some poppies. And as I was explaining, as I was stamping and cutting these out earlier, my mum was very involved in the Women's British Legion. And so it's, you know, something that's quite close to our heart. As a little girl, I used to help put poppies together, help her go out and sell them door to door, all of those sorts of things. So she was she did a lot of work with them, going out and visiting people to for grants and those sorts of things. So yeah, poppies have particular significance for us as a family. And I love to see them. I love to see them out in the countryside as you're going along in the side of the roads and things. So what I've done here, I've stamped 3 of the larger poppies and 2 of the smaller poppies. Not sure where my smaller poppy stamp has gone. And for both of them, I've used the infill. It's over here. And for both of them, I've used this sort of infill stamp to give them some colour, and we've done that in Poppy Parade. Quite sort of, you know, it seemed Poppy Parade was the colour to go for the poppies. And then I have stamped these leaves just onto some mossy meadow cardstock. I'm just going to fairly roughly cut round those because we have the colour, it's the colour cardstock, so it's not as if we're going to get a harsh white line or anything, and the stamping will give us our detail. Let's just cut that out, and I've stamped 3 of these. I love these background stamps. I mean, obviously I've done a whole solid background there, but you can use them for just smaller elements, just little bits round edges of stone. And they do give quite a nice background to have things growing up in front of, sort of garden wallish. Just tucking these in. It's just a very random piece of flower arranging going on here. Right, so there's our leaves. I'm going to take this blobby stamp just here. So we've just got this sort of blobs, splatters, whatever you'd like to call them. Somewhere I had a piece of scrap paper. So with the inners of these, you can see I stamped off in the Poppy Parade before stamping in the middle, just to sort of take it down a tone. I'm going to do some stamping off with this Mossy Meadow as well, because I'm thinking we'll add some of this to our wall in the background to give what sort of quite a mossy look to the wall. We've got that sort of mossy background in there. I've got this little stamp just here, a small blobby stamp. And actually what I might do with that one, I'm going to grab some crushed curry. Again, I'm going to stamp it off so it's not too in your face, but I'm just going to add in crushed curry on there, almost like sort of a bit of lichen growing in the wall. How do we want our, how does your garden grow? Mary, Mary, quite contrary. I think I'm going to have these coming in out of the corner. We'll build some of them up with with dimensionals when we come to stick them on. One out. Okay, I've also got here the peaceful moments. I'm going to have the thinking of you with all my heart, I think, coming up there. Let's find the ever useful tasteful labels and see what we're thinking. I'm thinking that one. Let's cut out one of those labels. And I think we'll stamp that in Mossy Meadow. Got stamps and pads and things all over the place. Have that on there, thinking of you with all my heart. And then going to come back in with the Sahara sand and take some of the stark whiteness off of that. Just tickle around the edges and tone that down. Wondering whether to do, I think I'm going to go Mossy Meadow for a bit of a backdrop on there. There was that little bit of Mossy Meadow I had just there. Let's die cut a Mossy Meadow label just the same. Whether that is, we'll have to wait. We'll go to answer phone and then we can I am standing at the minute. Well, it varies. I'm standing at the moment. I might then sit down. It just depends what I'm doing. I might sit when I'm colouring. Yeah, it really varies. So let's just give that, so we've cut that in half and given that a border top and bottom. Now, do we want a white card base for that? And do we want a little bit of, we're going to go Poppy Parade behind that, do we think? I think so, that will help that pop, won't it? It is my intention to get die cutting at some point and to make myself a poppy wreath for the window. There are no remembrance services and things happening this year, but people are being encouraged to stand on their doorsteps or print off some poppy pictures and have those up at their window. So we will certainly be looking to do something along that line. Right, I'm going to put my background onto some real red. And then we'll put that onto our card base, and we have got a hot dog style card base. I'm opening this way. Linen thread, and at some point I'm going to add in some of this. I'm going to just run it through my fingers to straighten it out a little bit, and I'm going to fold that in half and create a double bow. We'll add that in somewhere along the line as we're building up our poppies. Let's bring in some glue and some dimensionals. So I think this one in the corner I'm going to have standing proud. One sitting in behind there. See if we can just get our glue going. Come on, I know it's Monday morning. I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back of this one. Let me grab my glue dots. Let's find the next available glue dot and tuck that in down there. And bring this over the top of it. I think a bit of glue on this one. And we'll have that coming out down there. Let's have a leafy thing going on. And where shall we put our final one? I'm going to put a dimensional on it, but I'm going to tuck it behind here, so it sits on top of this one but behind that one. We have this leaf coming up here, and then last but not least, let's have this one coming round there. We've got our thinking of you. And we'll have that just up here. Reach over. My box of bits. Haven't got many of these wooden ones, these little wooden round ones left, but I'm thinking that they would be quite good. There's 1, 2, let's have those 3. Just sort of scattered around. 1. Sometimes you want something but you don't want it to be blingy blingy. These little wooden elements are perfect then. Oh, one of the little crosses has fallen out. Let's pop that back over here. Just sit it in the sheet and hopefully it will stay there till such a time as we come to use it. So there we go. Our stacked stone background used with the poppies. So that's quite a pretty little card, as I said. It's been a little while since I've got my poppies out, but they've been in my mind because I do intend to get die cutting that wreath, and the Rubbish Legion are doing some fundraising things, and I've downloaded a pack and I'll have a look. One of them is about doing 11 of things, so you know you can do 11 whatever. So I'm thinking I'm going to attempt to make a wreath that has 11 poppies in it, and I'll perhaps have a look and see if there's other things that we could be looking at 11s with. Perhaps we'll have a bit of a focus on the 11th of the 11th on the number 11. And then there's some links then that you can donate. So if you're not out and about picking up a poppy, you might want to follow a link. And just donate a couple of pennies. Right. So that's our poppy card. I think now we're going to go a bit more Christmassy. So for the Christmassy one, my thoughts was the Yuletide Pastures, because obviously the stacked stone is really quite sort of old barn. I thought that would give us quite a nice little background feature with some of these Christmassy farmyard animals. So I think this time I might start with, let's go with some grey granite, I think. I'm going to cut this grey granite, and I'm going to make it 14.4 by 10. what have I done with my big stacked stone stamp? Here it is. Let me just give it a wipe, as I think it might still have a little bit of Sahara sand on it. And we're going to go grey granite this time. So we've got grey granite cardstock. Yeah. Yes, that's what I was thinking, Jackie. So when I saw the thing the other day about, you know, I thought, oh, I could perhaps work with something about doing things in 11s. Perhaps I could, you know, try and create 11 projects during the day, or, as I say, make a wreath with 11 poppies. Perhaps we could have a look at what we could do. So I've inked that up with grey granite ink, and I've got my piece of grey granite cardstock. Now I'm not going to stamp this all over. I'm just going to come in and do a bit of random picking up bits of stone in the background. Actually, it's a lady's prerogative to change her mind. I'm turning that bit of card over because I'm coming in this way. It's almost just where I'm pressing it on, is it picking up bits of stone in the background. We should go for them all. To cut a piece of whisper white. And I think we'll stamp them with Memento. Let's come in with our hippie cow, our Highland cow, always known as hippie cows in our house, because they're so sort of laid back, and or they always look it. And a cat, and the little sheep with his jingle bells. Now, what colour to colour our little guys and gals? Just grabbing some nice smoky slate. Right, got a random selection of colours just here. Now I've got the light smoky slate, so I think we're going to come in first with the sheep. We grab the petty pinks as well. Let's come in with this sheep. Let's give him a bit of a pink thing going on with his nose around here, and perhaps in the middle of his ears. But it's not actually going to have a lot of colour. I'm just going to come in. This is the light smoky slate. And I'm just coming in, well, perhaps around the bottom of his feet where that's really quite shaded. Just add in some light smoky slate where that shading is round and about around the outside. But other than that, we're not going to give the sheep himself a lot of colour. We're just hoping that that will help the colour to pop. But he has got a bit of holly going on around here, so we'll colour that in. Get some, ooh, that's dark melon mambo. Let's find, let's go for the dark poppy parade for the holly berries. Come round, sort of put this little trim on the bell in blue, and I think perhaps we'll give him a blue collar as well, shall we? Very dapper. And then just going to grab the light so saffron for the bells. I think that's as much colouring as we'll do for our little sheep. Now, pussycat, pussycat. Come in again with some, got some light petal pink here. We'll come in round his ears and his mouth with that. Some crumb cake here and some light soft suede, so I think I'm going to come in and give him sort of some let's have some dark soft suede, some light soft suede, sort of stripy bits going on. And then I'm going to come in with the dark soft dark crumb cake just around the outside here. I'm going to bring in the light crumb cake and just sort of blend that all in. Looks like he's got a little heart on his back there. That's quite cute. Out the corner of my eye I can just see next door's cat walking along the wall. He's a very different colour. He's all black and fluffy. See, he could have been a black fluffy cat. You can have him being what colour you like. Have him tortoise shelly. colour shall we have your scarf, young man? I'm going to come in with red stripes, I think. And then I'm going to take the light granny apple green and come in between. A bit of a green and red scarf going on here. There he is, looking very festive. And last but not least, we have this rather gorgeous bull. Now I think bull or cow, or I think all Highland cattle have horns, don't they? It's not necessarily just the male of the species. I think we're going to give him a pink nose. And then of course Highland cattle do tend to be quite reddish, aren't they? I've grabbed the cinnamon cider, grabbed the calypso coral. Let's have a look. The cinnamon cider is quite a good colour actually for him. I think I might come in. I might just give him a little bit of dark calypso coral. You can hear my tummy rumbling. I've not stopped for breakfast yet. I'm going to come in with a bit of dark cinnamon cider. Then I'm going to take the light cinnamon cider. To lead in round his eye. Blend that all out. And as you blend it all out, those bunny patches just become highlights in his coat or her coat. They always look such gentle creatures. The babies are adorable. And obviously best seen in the Highlands, as they are Highland cattle. There he is. Yeah, that cinnamon cider is very definitely a good colour for him. Right, let's have a bit of bauble going on here. We'll do some mixing up with green and the red and the blue that we've used to highlight other colours, the other creatures. Let me sort of keep into that. Christmas in this barn is going to be in green and red and blue. Right. I'm going to let's cut these out. He may lose a little bit of his wispy fur detail in the process. And depending on how I go, we may end up drawing in the baubles. String. This is going to be the fiddliest one, I think. Not the sort of thing you should voluntarily do live, is it? Trying to cut this funny thing out, but let's just give that a bit of a wiggle across the bottom there. So we've got a bit of a sense of his fur. I can come back in with my pen and fill in any gaps in a minute if I need to. Let me just get rid of the bulk of these. And then it's just Operation Bauble. What are we thinking? Do you know, I think we're not even going to attempt to keep those strings. I think sometimes there are things in life that just aren't worth worrying about. So let's I actually managed to keep them now. I've chopped them off. Let's see. I think we've managed to capture that one. Where's our brother's gone? This one definitely got chopped off, but we can draw him in. So there's our Highland cow. Here comes our little kitty. Got such cute little faces. Just going to come round and to leave the tassels. What I'll perhaps do with those is somewhere I've got the late light grey granite. I'm just going to come in and then that will blend in. With the background. And last but not least, Baa white sheep. Baa Christmas sheep. Let's cut round his knobbly knees. There he is. Look, my little cuties. Right. Let's decide who's going where. You have you standing like this. So we're going to put Mr. Highland Cow on and stick him down with glue. There he is. Let's come in with our little baubles. Quite fiddly. But we'll line them up with the bows on his ears. Make sure I tuck a bit of glue on his string. And last but not least, this little bauble. To just take him up quite close to the horn because he hasn't got a string, but that's okay. Then we'll have our little sheep coming in here and we're going to stick him down as well. Then in the front we'll pop up our little cat on some dimensionals. There's the little gang sitting down there. Do with just trying to think which short one of these stamp sets. It's just got, excuse me, I just flick across the front of my stamp sets just to see. Oh, that one would work. So I've randomly picked the High Tide, but just because I just want some wispy bits of grass. Look, there's this rather lovely little stamp in here that has just that. Little wispy bits of grass. Let's come in with our mossy meadow. Let's just there we go. Let me pop that away so that that little bit of wispy bit of grass doesn't get lost. To trim down this card a little bit more, I think. I'm going to make it 13.9 by 9.5. I just think that will give it a bit more in the way of scale. That's the word I was looking for. Let me come back in with my grey granite because I think just want a little bit more in the way of background. Then let's come back to our stamp set, because one of the things I love about this stamp set is the greetings. Let's have wishing you peace now and always. I think that one. With a bit of Whisper White. What colour shall we go for? Tempted. We've got quite a bit of Poppy Parade in the background there, so I'm quite tempted to go wishing you peace now and always. Thing I'm quite tempted to add to that if I can find them. is a Jingly Bell. So let's pop this up on some dimensionals. Some of these out of the way for a minute. Let's bring in a bit of this. And let's take our Okay, see you soon, Caroline. Just going to colour this linen thread red. It might end up a little bit patchy, but actually that's okay. Supposed to be quite rustic. Could run it through the ink pad as well if you wanted to. Okay, there's some. Ooh. Throwing it on the floor is not necessarily part of the proceedings, but I'm going to take my red thread, thread it through my Jingle Bell. Jingle, jingle. It's almost stripy. Oh. Let's trim that off. And we add that in there. So I'm going to grab some glue dots, and we want a good couple of glue dots for that one. Let's put 2 on there. And let's just trim down that background. With the right and base. And I'm going to score it at 14.9. And look at it. Definitely need a new blade in that trimmer. I'll sort those edges out in a minute. Let's build him up. Stick down our side where we started using the stone the other way round. Let's gather up a bit of that glue. So there we have 2 cards where we have used that stacked stone in the background. We've got this poppy where we've done it all over and added in some moss and some lichen in the background, and then we've got this sort of vaguely could be wall, could be barn behind our little festive farmyard folk just there. So a couple of cards, both using that stacked stone. Very different, but both good fun. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I will be back with you later in the week. Do keep checking in. The week goes on, there'll be other things popping up, but I'll be back with you live on Friday. So have a lovely week, everybody.